Dice Tower Tonight, episode 44.
The Ministry of Silly Games.
Welcome to Dice Tower Tonight, a video cast about board games and card games, and especially the people who play them. On tonight's show, we have a serious discussion about some very silly games. Plus, I challenge Crystal and the live chat to a devious challenge. We discuss some recent games played, and we answer questions from the audience live. I'm Eric Summerer, and joining me now, the Mary Richards to my Lou Grant, Crystal Pisano.
Ooh, that's an old school reference.
I know! You got spunk, kid.
Oh, I like it. So
I
nice.
hate spunk.
No, you don't. I know you don't. That's not true at all.
That's true. You're absolutely right.
Oh, how are you doing today, Eric?
It has been a whirlwind past couple of weeks. Lots of trips to New. I've been back and forth to New York twice in the last 2 weeks with a field trip and a family trip, and just everything is coming to a head as the end of the school year is happening, and there's all sorts of meetings and concerts and field trips and all sorts of stuff. It just feels like a nonstop freight train right now. How about you?
So it's funny because when people talk about I've always lived in states that are large geographically. Mm-hmm. And so when people that are on the East Coast talk about going to New York, it feels like that's really far, but you say field trip. How far is New York from where you all live?
When you're taking a bus full of fifth and sixth graders, it takes 3 hours on the bus. Okay. If you were taking the train, it's somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours.
Okay, so that's not bad.
But it's certainly doable.
Visiting another state has always been a large endeavor where the places I've lived generally. Even getting from Las Vegas to Reno, driving is 9 hours or something ridiculous. It's very far.
That is not a perspective I have, because I grew up in Michigan, so I should be used to the larger distances. But here in Connecticut, you can get almost anywhere. I'm pretty much in the middle of the state. I can get to pretty much anywhere in the state in an hour.
Nice.
That is not the case.
It takes me 45 minutes to drive to my friend's house that is in Las Vegas. From Las Vegas to Las Vegas, 45 minutes. Because Las Vegas is very spread out geographically.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, but we're not here to talk about geography. We're here to talk about board games.
Indeed.
Eric, I would love to hear what you've been playing recently.
Well, I have an app to talk about, and I was going to talk a bit about this on the Dice Tower podcast, but our friends Suzanne and Mandy talked about it first. They beat me to it in their Tap That App segment in the episode that posted this week. So I'm going to talk about it here, by gum. The game is Shards of Infinity. This was a physical game that's been out for, I want to say, a year or two. But this new app just dropped of the app version of this. It is a deck building game. Hello, ta-da! And it has a lot in common with, say, Ascension. In fact, it has the same design team as Ascension, and also Star Realms or Hero Realms. It's very similar. You have a certain number of health points. You start with 50 health points at the beginning of the game, and one way to win is to, in fact, the only way to win is to knock out your opponent's health, knock them down to 0. However, there's also this, and you can't really see it here on my board here, but there is a star rating, I forget exactly what they call it. It's like a level that you achieve, and you can send some of your resources to this level in order to upgrade some of your cards. Some of your cards say, if you have 5 of these stars, instead of giving you 2 shards for buying cards, you get 3 shards for buying cards. If you have 15 stars, you now have 4 shards for buying cards, or you do more damage or something like that. But there's one card that is the Shard of Infinity. In fact, it's that damage card I mentioned a second ago, because if you have 30 of these star points and you play this card, it does infinite damage. It ends the game. And in the app, if you do that, it does this cool whirl effect. And, it feels like a very, it's a very fun way to win if you do it that way. So you've got your hand of cards. You can see my starting cards down at the bottom, and you'll play those on a turn. You're going to spend your recruiting points to get more cards into your deck. It's very straightforward if you're familiar with any sort of deck building game. It also, however, has these mercenary cards, and I'm not sure how well this is going to show up in the webcam, but there is a red border around that last card there. That means it's a mercenary. I can buy that and put it in my deck like any other card, but I can also just use it and throw it away. So I get the immediate effect on the turn that I buy it, and then it doesn't clog up my deck. So there's these different suits, factions that have synergies, much like Star Realms or Hero Realms. So you kind of want to concentrate on one or two of those in your deck so that you get to trigger the synergies more often. But maybe there's a really cool mercenary card that's not one of those suits you like that you're collecting. In another game, you might have to avoid that card and really think twice before buying it to put it in your deck. Here, you can say, I got the cash. I'm going to get its immediate effect, and then it's not in my deck. It's like you cull it immediately, which is kind of a neat concept. Also, you have these champions that are kind of like the outposts in Star Realms that you can trigger round after round. You can activate these champions, and they have a health. They have health that can be knocked out by your opponents as well, or they can stick around and help you round after round. And the one you start with that can never be wiped out allows you to take one of your recruiting points and turn it into one of those star points, your level. And so you can make the decision to gradually level your stars up each round, and then buy fewer cards. The app implementation is very nice. It's slick. There's these nice. You can see the animation in the background. It's doing cool stuff. When you do damage, it does this cool laser effect, and it really feels like you're making stuff happen, and more than just playing the cards and seeing the numbers move. There's effects that do stuff. And I mentioned that if you win with the Shard of Infinity, it makes you feel like you won something impressive. There's 3 levels of AI. There's a pass and play. There's also online play, which I haven't done yet. I haven't found any friends. I need to make some friends.
Or just talk to Mandy and Suze, obviously.
I could. I should do that. But I would like to try that out. And I think it's one that my kids will enjoy playing as well. So I'm very happy with this. Am I going to play it more often than Star Realms? That's the real key, because I think this has a lot of similarities. It's got the health points. You're trying to whittle your opponents down. It feels in many ways like Star Realms, but I like this as an alternative with some of those choices I mentioned already. Ultimately, I think Star Realms is going to stick around and get played more, especially in physical format, because there are just so many more cards that I have for it. This is just the single base set right now. But I do like it as an alternative. So thumbs up for the app. I think it's a great implementation, and they're already updating it. They had there was a glitch that showed up earlier this week, and they fixed it already. So they're really on the ball and making upgrades and updates to the app, and I like it. Shards of Infinity.
Very nice. Deck building is not a genre that I gravitate toward, both or either in board game or in digital board game form. I was just looking to see if I have any deck building app games, and I think Xenoshift is the only one that I have, but I actually haven't played it in a very long time, even in app form. But I've still never played Star Realms, and I haven't played Shards of Infinity either. Deck building and we don't always get along. And so I'd be curious, so you're playing this on an iPad. How do you think it would go on a smaller device, like a smartphone?
There are other ways to play it. There's like a mode that can make the text larger, like a large print mode that makes it easier to play on a smaller screen. I have not fiddled with it. I have a phone that I could be trying it on. I have not yet done that, just because, well, I have this in front of me. But I do know that they have thought that through for people who are using a phone, and made those concessions that you can toggle that mode on and make it a lot easier to see and understand what's happening.
Okay, well, that's good. I might have to give it a try at some point.
Yeah, and I think the one advantage to the app is that it does all of the math for you as you're keeping track of all of your shards that you get and the synergies that trigger cards and all that. It makes it very easy to keep track of all that. Whereas if you had the physical components in front of you, you're like, well, all right, I got 7 shards. I'm going to spend 3. That gives me 4 left. I'll do this. I mean, it's not that difficult, but this does keep you on track and keeps things moving.
Well, that's nice. All right, so the game I want to talk about is one that is technically on Kickstarter right now, but I don't have like a Kickstarter preview or anything because this is a second printing of a game that I actually backed on Kickstarter 2 or 3 years ago, and that is, as I pull out the components so I can actually show off the box, Starving Artists. So this game was originally on Kickstarter in 2016 or 2017. I want to say. I think it published in early 2017, so I imagine it was on Kickstarter in 2016. And it is what they refer to it as a paint by cube game. I kind of, for me personally, refer to it as a pastiche killer. So if anyone's ever played the game Pastiche, this bears a couple of similarities, definitely thematically and also in gameplay, but there's some key differences as well. And I think it simplifies some of the things that Pastiche does that I don't like. So in Starving Artist, you are literally a starving artist who is trying to complete works of art to feed yourself. There are a number of paintings in the game. And when I say a number of, I mean a lot. So this is all of the paintings that are in the game. And they're all, well, what's nice is they're not all super famous paintings, but they're not all obscure paintings either. So obviously, most people are probably familiar with Van Gogh's Starry Night.
Oh, that's a pretty one. I like it.
I know, right? See, whereas this one, I've never heard of before. Casimir, oh gosh, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name because I'm going to mess it up. But Malevich? Probably. Morning in the Village After Snowstorm, 1913. It's lovely. And it's not all like old art or contemporary art. There's a mix of a whole bunch of things. So like you've got Georgia O'Keeffe and you've also got comic book covers. There's so the definition of art is loose as it should be here. And you'll notice that all of these cards have little spaces on them that are square shaped and different colors. And so during the game, players get to take a certain number of actions on their turn, 2 regular actions and 1 free action. And what they are doing is collecting paint cubes in various colors to then place onto their paintings. So on your turn, you can either buy a canvas, which means taking one of the available cards that's out on the table to put into your own area to start painting it. You can add cubes to a canvas, and then at the end of every round, any canvases that you've completely filled up with cubes are completed and sold, and they will give you whatever's listed at the bottom of the thing. So in this instance, it's got 2 next to the fork and 9 next to the paintbrush, because this will give you 2 food and 9 paint. So every painting you sell gives you more paint to paint other paintings, as well as food to keep you alive. Because what's interesting is you, as a player, at the beginning of every round, your nutrition drops by 1, and the highest it can ever be is 5. So if you aren't completing paintings, you will literally starve. And that is where this game feels the most thematic to me, is you feel that pressure. Like, I imagine if you were an artist trying to make it, and you're trying to just sell 1 painting to feed yourself for the week. That's what this game feels like. To that point, though, there is potential player elimination here, because if your nutrition ever drops below 1, you are eliminated from the game. I have almost never seen this happen like early in a game. Sometimes toward the end of the game, there might be an instance where someone was trying to complete some really big paintings and didn't get it done. But I just want to point out, because a lot of people don't like player elimination in games, and technically that is possible. I don't actually know if they've modified any of the rules for the new edition. So everything I'm speaking about is in regards to the first edition of the game. But yeah, what's nice is they also have accounted for color blindness in the game. All of the cards have guides at the bottom of them showing what specific cubes of each color you need. Wait, I don't know how that would work. There's something on the playmat, maybe. Now I feel like I'm not speaking about it eloquently, but I know they've accounted for color blindness in how stuff gets allocated.
Are those colors at the bottom always in the same order?
Yes, that's it. Thank you. That's
okay.
Yeah. So it's it's the colors of the rainbow. So it's Roy G. Biv with black at the end. So yes. So you would, even if you have visibility issues with color, you wouldn't necessarily know which cubes go where on your painting because of that, but you will know what cubes you need to complete the painting. And the playmat accounts for that as well by having where you place the cubes on it in a specific order. It is a pretty simple game at its core. There's not a lot novel about it. But honestly, just looking at all of the gorgeous artwork and playing a light, simple game where you're collecting cubes and painting paintings, I just always enjoy this one. Every time it hits the table, my game group likes it a lot. I think there's 2 or 3 of us in my game group who own it. So it comes out every now and then because somebody's usually bringing it along. But yeah, if you enjoy art, this is a great one to pick up as just like kind of a light little filler. It doesn't take super long to play, and I really enjoy it. So if you think that sounds interesting, head over to Kickstarter. They didn't ask me to plug it or anything. I just really like it, and I know it's on Kickstarter again, and I've been talking about it since I got my original copy, so I figured I could talk about it here. Oh, one last thing I will mention that I think is cool is the inside of the box has the score track in it, and it also has information about end game conditions based on how many players you have, and how to distribute paint if multiple people complete a painting in the same round. So like instead of having reference cards, it's a reference box, which again, I don't know if the second printing is going to be exactly the same, but it's pretty neat. And it's got the magnetic closure. Yeah. So I will admit my magnetic closure has weakened over time. So I often put a self-sticking tape around the outside just to make sure nothing falls loose. But yeah, so that is Starving Artists.
Neat. How many different painting cards are in there?
That is an excellent question, and I can't even look in the rule book to give you an answer because since I did back it on Kickstarter, they like had stretch goals and additions and other things. And I am very not good at guesstimating amounts of cards by a pile, but I'll just show you.
Wow.
It's like you can see like my hand, the width of like, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of paintings. I mean, and you only go through a pretty small amount of them each game. Like I think since end game triggers for like even the lowest player count is 7 paintings completed by a player will trigger the end of the game. So if you're only seeing 14 in a game, or even even if you saw 30, like it's still, there's a lot in here.
That's cool.
And I think they're actually adding more as part of the new Kickstarter adds a 5th and 6th player. And I believe they're adding more paintings as well. And they also have an editor online. You can make your own cards. You can upload your own art or photography and design your own cards. They have a card editor online. So you can take your kids' artwork or a photo of your family and put it in the game. So I don't know how, like quality wise, obviously, if you don't have the ability to print really nice card stock, it'll obviously stick out a little bit, but that's still really neat that you can do that.
That is awesome. Very cool. So later in the show, we're going to talk about some silly games. And when it came to, it's my turn to challenge you, Crystal, to a game. I thought about doing something really silly. Making you make funny faces or talk in silly voices or something. But then I thought, what's really silly? Taking a game that's already difficult and making it harder.
Well, that does sound awfully silly.
Yes. And you're the one that gave me this idea because I was listening to Board Game Blitz, your podcast with Ambi, and you mentioned playing Just One recently and how it was possible. I don't remember whether you said you played it this way or if just you had conversations talking about playing it this way, but combining multiple sets of Just One with more players to play Just Two.
Yes, that is a thing that some friends of mine did, and I now own 2 copies of the game, so it is possible for me to do it. I have not personally done this yet. I have not played Just Two myself.
Well, we're gonna do it now.
Hooray!
So I went onto Board Game Geek. Michelle Ridge has a thread that sort of codifies some of the rules, and I followed most of those. Here's what's going to happen. If you've watched our show, and we've played Just One on this program a few times, what happens is I will show the webcam a word, and in this case, it's going to be 2 words. And then you in the chat, everybody, you get to participate by giving clues. Now, for Just Two, I will accept the first 10 answers that come through, and you can give a clue for one or the other of the 2 words. Any duplicates, however, will be eliminated. Crystal will not hear those words. And then I will read all of the clues that are not duplicated, and Crystal has to guess what the words are. Now, because it's just two, you're going to get two guesses. You can get a wrong guess here, Crystal.
Okay.
So we're going to see how well this goes. I told Crystal beforehand that this might work out absolutely terribly.
I think it's going to be fun to watch me
We're gonna
struggle with
see.
nothing else,
Yes.
right? All right, I am going to minimize the window so I can no longer see you, which means I'm talking to a blank computer screen, which is odd.
Okay. Yes.
And I've hidden the chat as well, so I can't see any of it.
Folks in the chat, if you do give an answer, give a clue, please type in all caps so it's easier for me to see what you're giving as a clue. Again, you can give a clue for either of the two words, and the fun is seeing if Crystal can figure out what clues go with which word. I have 6 pairs of words, and then you have a master clue because each of the pairs or each of the sets of words has a theme. We'll see if you can figure out the theme of the 2 sets of words.
So this is also kind of a memory game, which I'm horrible at.
We'll go
recap
over
at
them
the end.
again.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, let's not make it that difficult. Okay, here comes clue number 1, or clue 1 and 2. There are 2 words there. And we're going to wait for the chat to start giving clues. This is the fun part where Crystal's just staring at a...
Yeah, I'm literally staring at my webcam because like looking at my computer screen doesn't make sense because there's nothing on it. But like staring into my webcam also seems a little creepy because there's...
Right.
I don't know.
I am seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10. All right. Let me freeze that right where that is. And I see 1 pair that is the same. Okay. Here are your clues, Crystal.
Okay, I'm ready.
We have gala or gala, soccer, stitches, base, keloid, rugby, round, and sphere.
Okay, so I get 2 guesses. Am I trying to get both words or just one of the words?
You're trying to get both. I'll give you like a third guess if one of them's wrong.
Okay, so
gala, soccer, stitches, base, keloid, rugby, round, and sphere.
Okay, so wait, was base one of the words?
Base is one of the words.
And that wouldn't be a legal clue if the clue was baseball.
That would not, if that were the case, that
ball.
would be an illegal.
Oh, definitely ball, because that's what gala relates to then also. So ball is my first
Ball
guess.
is your first guess, and that is correct.
Okay, and now there's like medical, I think, sounding words in there somewhere. Keloid, I don't know what that means. I
don't
should.
Either.
Okay, well, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yep.
Can you run through them one more time real fast? Sorry.
All right. Gala, soccer, stitches, base, keloid, rugby, round, and sphere.
Okay, so stitches could have related to a sports ball of some kind, but stitches and keloid both sound medical to me, so I'm gonna say surgery.
Okay, that's wrong. You want to take one more stab at it?
Hospital.
No. The other one was scar.
Oh, okay. So I was at least heading in the right direction.
Yes. All right. That was very good. You got the first one. 50% is not bad for this. Okay.
I had less clues for the second, so.
Yeah, gala was a very good clue. Here is the second set of words. Those were some very good clues. Although a lot of them were for ball. I think there were only a couple. Yeah, they're getting keloid is a raised scar. That's the definition that we got there.
Oh, nice. Well, so that's obviously a perfect clue. Only if I actually knew the definition.
If you had known, yes, that would have been perfect.
I'll try and study up
first,
on my vocab.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. And I got that locked where it should be. Looking like I thought I saw a duplicate, but perhaps I don't.
I'm going to attempt to type them as you read them to me, so that way you don't have to read them 3 times this time.
There you go. Okay. No, I think you get them all.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Specs. Gettysburg. War. Conflict. Wine. Barbarossa. Monocle. Fighting. Bots. And four.
Can you spell 4 for me?
Four.
Number 4.
Four, bots, fighting, monocle, Barbarossa, wine, conflict, war, Gettysburg, and specs.
Okay. So my first guess is glasses.
Correct.
So then we've got the stuff that is obviously war, conflict, Gettysburg, Barbarossa, fighting, battle.
Absolutely right. You got it.
Good job, chat.
Done. That was excellent. Great clues. Very,
I like
good.
4 as well, because I think they were intending 4 eyes as like the glasses, which I like that one.
All right, so you're on a roll. I mean, you nowhere to go but down from this point.
Perfect.
That was great. That was very, very good. Really good clues. Gettysburg was a very good clue. All right. This one might be a little trickier. All right, the first one comes in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, there we go. Let me freeze that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There, I see 1 duplicate, 2 duplicates. Uh-oh.
Okay, so I'm going to get 6 words total.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Pokemon. Force. Sons. Trainer. Reborn. Matt.
Matt as an M-A-T?
M-A-T.
Okay.
Matt, Reborn, Trainer, Sons.
Sons, S-U-N-S or S-O-N-S?
S-U-N-S.
Okay, that's what I typed up. Okay, well, my first guess is going to be Ash.
Incorrect.
Oh, but that works for so many of those words. Like, so many of them.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Also, fun fact, my Pokemon knowledge is very lacking. So the fact that I knew Ash is a thing, y'all should be proud of me.
Yep.
Pokemon Go is the only Pokemon game I've ever played. Shoot, I was so sure about that one too. Phoenix?
Phoenix is correct.
Okay. And Jim.
Yeah, well done. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And Jim, you're now 5 out of 6.
I'm doing a happy dance over here, and I'm talking to the camera.
Very good. Okay, here we go. Next set. Ding ding. Yeah, chat is really helping you out here. Even missing.
A really good job. And now I just want to play just 2 all the time. Technically, I can't right now, though, because one of my copies of Just One is at home, and the other one is at work, because I taught it to some coworkers recently. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And let me get that centered. It looks like 1 duplicate, 2 duplicates. Uh-oh.
It's all right. We got this.
Okay, here we go.
I say before.
First, Beckett. High.
H-I-G-H?
H-I-G-H. Rock. Ignacy. Clue. Gumshoe. That was 6, right? Yes.
I think so, yeah. Wow.
Yep. And a couple of really good clues are ones that got taken out.
Okay, yeah, we've got it's weird this time looking at all those things, because like when I see the word Beckett, the only thing I think of is Sam. But I don't, that doesn't fit anything else that I can see. Ignacy works for Portal Games. His last name is Chevychek. He's designed a bunch of stuff, but Clue and Gumshoe obviously go together. So we'll say, oh, he's designed Detective. So Detective is one of them.
Detective is one of them. Well done.
Okay. And then High, Rock, and Beckett maybe all, but maybe Beckett would count for the detective one. I don't know. High and Rock. Let's say Mountain.
Not Mountain, no.
Okay, then we'll go Volcano.
No, that was Castle. One of the clues that was removed was Moat.
Yep, that would have got me there.
Moat. And one of the detective clues was Pikachu, believe it or not.
Oh, that's a good one.
Castle. All right, next grouping. Yep. There we go. Yeah, it's interesting when the best clues are the ones that go away, and they're the ones that seem to be the non-obvious ones.
Well, and that's what I love about this game is like sometimes everybody puts the same thing, and then sometimes no one puts the obvious thing. Like we had Hulk as a word in a game recently, and nobody wrote down green or incredible. We had a bunch of random words. Luck and two of us wrote down Ruffalo, and that got eliminated. So I think all our person had to go on was like strong, and I don't remember what the other one was, but it was not a lot. All right, what do we got?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, yes, I'm good. All right, I think that one has to go away. So 2 of them have been removed. But I believe we get the rest. Okay, so detention, senior, clown, act, species, teacher, school, and desk.
Okay.
I think you might be, yeah, that's going to be interesting.
It seems like most of these are for one of the words, which I imagine is class.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so it looks like detention, senior, clown, teacher, school, and desk are all, and act.
Yeah.
Species might be my only word that applies to the other one. And honestly, that could technically be class too, because if you're talking about like classes of animals, species, like, I don't know, like phylos, all that other stuff. I don't know. Species. Yeah. So we're going to say...
Yeah.
I don't. I'm really struggling.
All right.
Well, I'll say animal.
No. If I gave you one of the removed clues, which was Darwin.
Evolution?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's a really, I mean, as far as a one-word clue goes, that's a pretty good one.
Darwin's great. Yes, that was.
Well, even species, truthfully, is not bad.
All right. Last, any idea what the sets of words are from?
Can we get the sets again?
Yeah. Well, let's do the last set, and then we'll head.
I haven't been keeping track, to be honest.
Sure. Here is the last set of words. Chat is seeing it now, and we're going to go for the last set of clues in just a little bit. Yeah, somebody said Galapagos would have been a great clue.
I remember when I was in elementary school, Rand McNally came to my elementary school to talk about the Galapagos Islands, and I was like fully fascinated. Him talking about like the giant turtles and everything else. I was just like completely just dumbstruck by how cool it was.
One of the toughest things is getting the chat to stop when everybody is still saying things. Okay, I have my 10. Unfortunately, 3 of the clues. Oh no, Looks like 5 of the clues have been removed.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you an 11th. Why not?
Okay.
Just because it's on the screen already. So, Pokemon, apprentice, gym, carpet, strange, and fire mage.
Huh. So, trainer?
Trainer is one of the words. Well done.
Okay. Strange. Carpet? Fire mage? I'm sure that there's connective tissue between some of these that I'm not picking up on, but
There is.
I'm just gonna say,
Yeah.
Doctor is my first guess because Doctor Strange.
No.
And we'll go with burn.
No. So the removed clues, all 5 of them pertained to this word. One of them was illusion or illusionist.
Okay.
And the other was gathering.
I don't even know if I know what that is now. Illusion, gathering.
If we did blank the.
Oh, magic.
Yeah.
Wow, it was so like that's the thing. My brain went right past the obvious stuff in those.
Carpet was a good clue there. Okay, so set number 1 was magic, class, castle, phoenix, glasses, scar.
Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Okay.
and then this one should be pretty obvious at this point. Trainer, evolution, detective, gym, battle, and ball.
Pikachu? Or Pokemon in general?
It's Pokemon, yeah.
Okay.
Which was the clue that many gave just for all of these.
Right. Which obviously means we're all very excited to see Detective Pikachu, clearly.
Yes. Which I did. I saw that over the weekend and enjoyed it. That's fun.
Nice.
So
awesome job, Chat.
You did very well with that. I'm very impressed. And Chat did a great job. You seem to separate the clues pretty well, which is what my worry playing this would be. I think you did a great job.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I struggle with the ones like carpet for magic because even though once you know that that's what they're intended to be and it seems like a good clue, when I see the word carpet, I'm thinking about things that are related to carpet rather than phrases that have carpet in them. So whenever I play this game, those are the types of clues that usually throw me specifically for a loop, even though they're really good.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, I sort of gave you a hint when we were chatting before the show that these were the 2 things on my mind because I had just seen Detective Pikachu and I also saw the Harry Potter play on that first trip to New York. So
yeah. I did not actually make that connection. So perfect.
Well, there we go.
That was a lot of fun.
So it's time to get silly or serious about being silly, I think.
I mean, so how better to start a conversation about silly games than by showing off a silly game? Right, Eric?
I can't disagree with you.
I mean, I'm just going to turn this over here a little bit.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm going to tilt it down just a little bit.
Oh, you have this thing.
So this went not viral. I say viral, like it went mildly viral just on board game Twitter specifically. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to get it. It is called Flying Sushi Kitchen. And it is a game where you are literally collecting sushi that's flying in the air. I apologize if the noise from the blowers is really loud. But you have chopsticks and you literally have to, oh man, I'm so bad at this. I can't, because as soon as you touch it, it like wants to go elsewhere. Yeah, this will be an exercise in futility. See, and look, then eventually you grab them and you collect them. And I won't keep this on in case the noise is really loud, but this was $12 on Amazon, Eric.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it's easy. You just turn it back off.
So are you collecting specific colors or shapes or?
So technically, yes, But the way we played it, so when you grab so there's a deck of cards, and I will say this is a very cheap deck of cards, like squared corners that are going to get torn up immediately, and the quality is not good. But again, $12 for this lovely rig. Also, it's powered by 4 C batteries, and who has C batteries anymore? I had to go seek out C batteries. But yeah, so basically on your turn, you draw a card and you get an order. It's either a regular order or a rush order, and that determines which button on the machine you press. So it's either 45 seconds or 60 seconds. And then it shows what types of sushi you have to collect. And then there's also little tokens for wasabi and ginger that are in these little trays on the side that I don't have currently in there that you have to pick up as well. Everything has to be picked up with the chopsticks and put into your little sushi tray. Everybody has these nice little plastic trays. And if you drop it, it doesn't count. You have to put it back up and try again with the chopsticks. And if you can complete the order, you get the money listed on the card. Then there's some little challenge cards that make it more difficult, like making you use your left hand or not using the little cheaty trainer things that I'm using because I'm bad with chopsticks. And so when that happens to me, it's all over. There's also all play cards where all of the players have to grab sushi at the same time. But yeah, so on those cards, it specifically shows the different types of sushi, but really it's just a matter of collecting a certain number of sushi for each order. So when we were playing, even though the tiny little smiling sushis look different, we just would put the number of pieces of sushi required. So if it was 2, we would just grab 2 at random and put them up there because it doesn't really seem to matter what type, aside from how adorable they are. And they're real cute. So this, I just wanted to show it off because I got it in the mail. I played it with my game group. We had a lot of fun with it, and it's ridiculous, but great. I don't know. And so as far as the silly game conversation is concerned, it seemed like a good way to start things off. And yeah, it's for me personally, silly games hold a very special place in my heart because I like acting like a kid. I like being silly. I'm sure that doesn't come as a surprise to anyone. And while I do really like long, intense, serious games occasionally, I really enjoy having fun doing silly things. So silly games kind of help me scratch that itch sometimes.
Yeah, it seems like every once in a while we get sort of the board game community rallies around one of these games that are usually a kid's game. But there's some element to it that that the adults enjoy as well. Looping Louie is one of these. I've seen adults play Dancing Eggs, the Haba game with the rubberized eggs. Watching them all run around a table with eggs like stuck between their knees. That's very, very silly. But it just happens that some of these games show up in the zeitgeist and become like mini hits in our community, and it's entertaining.
Sorry, I had my microphone muted since my dog was barking. And this game comes in like a ridiculously large box, and it's unnecessarily large. So it's, first off, it's a tuck box, so that's already in disarray.
Yeah.
And the publisher of this game is a company I've never heard of before. It's Redwood Ventures. It is listed on Board Game Geek, but I've never seen anything else from this company specifically. You're not allowed to play it if you're younger than 4, apparently. But can a 4-year-old hold chopsticks? I mean, I guess with the trainers, maybe.
Sure.
But this box is most likely going in the garbage, and I'm going to find a new way to store it because the game components aren't big enough to warrant this gigantic box. It had an insert in it when I got it that held all the pieces. And the insert was made of the type of plastic that literally the second you touch it, it shatters. So, but again, $12. So I'm saying all of this without really being upset about it because I got a giant box of flying sushi for $12. Yeah. So
that sounds like less of a game publisher and more of a manufacturing concern. This is about the toy factor and less about the game design.
Yeah, but I definitely need a new box to store it in because I don't want to carry that thing around with me. I literally threw away the insert as soon as I pulled it out of the box. But yeah, I love Dancing Eggs. You mentioned that one. That one's great. There's some other kind of dexterity-ish games that I've enjoyed playing. Carla Cat, which used to be called Pounce. There's this big plastic cat-shaped bowl that is flat on the bottom and hollow, and everybody has a mouse on a long rope, and you put all the mouse. No, I almost just said mouses. You put all
Okay,
the mice
sure.
in the middle in a space that the cat could theoretically cover up, and you're rolling a die, and based on what gets rolled, it determines whether the cat strikes or not. One person's controlling the cat, and they slam the cat down onto the table and try and catch the mice before the mice get yanked away by their ropes. I have gotten rope burn playing this game because you're yanking the mouse, and if the cat gets you and you get stopped, your hand just gets, oh, it's painful but fun. Marble bobsleigh is another silly game that I really like. The one where you're blowing on the marbles to try and win the bobsled race. That's so good.
You got to disinfect that one though when you're done. That's got to get Purelled a lot.
I was very happy that Tom put it in the Dice Tower library and even brought it on the cruise. I taught it to some people on the cruise.
Yes, I played it on the cruise as well. It's one that I passed over at Essen because I thought that it seemed too cheap. In its production. It just I was looking at like the demo version. I think it had been manhandled a little too much and roughly jostled around, so it just didn't seem very solid to me. But having played it, maybe I should have. Of course, it's also gigantic. Talk about a big box. The box for Marble Bobsleigh is like as large as two people's heads. It's giant. It would have been difficult to bring home.
For sure. And that one's necessarily large. No, we're not unnecessarily large. It just holds the components. Some people in the chat are talking about some kind of mass market games from the past couple or few decades, like Don't Wake Grandma. I think there was Don't Wake Daddy was the one that was popular here in the States. I think there are a lot of kids games that employ silly mechanics like that. I remember Crocodile Dentist when I was a kid, where you had the teeth and not get bit by the crocodile. And there's even
people are mentioning Strike just to, I think, rile you up.
I mean, Strike is very silly. I just take it very seriously. I'm not arguing that it's not silly. I have a lot of fun with it. That's why every time I teach it to somebody, the first words out of my mouth are usually, "This is a very serious game about gladiators doing epic combat in an arena." And that usually sets the tone well, and they know that I'm obviously being facetious. But yeah,
Happy
I think
Salmon shows up.
Oh, Happy Salmon is great. Although I will admit the follow-up to that one, I don't remember. There was a sequel of sorts that was similar. I didn't like as much, but I love Happy Salmon.
Okay.
And there's other mass market games today that I haven't played because I'm not a kid. But what's the one where it's called Don't Step in It, and you have piles of fake poo.
There are way too many poo-based products in the gaming sphere, in the mass market gaming sphere right now. And my kids are asking for some of these. There's one with a plunger that pops out of a toilet that, no, I don't want that game in the house. But anyway.
But why, Eric? Why?
But why? They talk about poop enough. I don't need more of it. Anyway,
you can tell that I'm egging this on because I don't have children who are harassing me to buy poo games. But I think, honestly, though, that kind of leads me to one of my other points is I like that a lot of these silly games, whether they're dexterity-based or otherwise, kind of help level the playing field for adults and kids. Because if you're playing a strategy game where you kind of have to think, 4 steps ahead to do well, unless an adult is specifically hindering themselves in some way, usually the adult's going to win. Whereas in some of these silly games, in dancing eggs, sometimes kids are way better at putting that egg underneath their chin and running around the table. And I'm literally trying to hold an egg in 3 different places and can't do it. So
yeah, they're more flexible, more able to their reactions are quicker. Yeah, a lot of those kids games level the playing field like that. Another advantage that we discussed before the show tonight is that these games can they can be a little bit of a social lubricant. Get players who maybe are a little more reserved involved in a social situation if you're forced to do something a little bit silly, which can admittedly turn some people off. They don't like to do silly things. But in that magic circle of the game where you're given permission to be a little silly and just have some fun with it, it can be very helpful for an icebreaker activity.
Absolutely. I think that would be kind of a neat way to kick off a convention, theoretically. Like if you knew that the people attending were mostly people that didn't know each other, it would be kind of neat to have a bunch of these like silly dexterity games out on the tables as like kind of a like, because you know that moment when you walk into a convention, even for me, like I know people and I know games, but you kind of walk in and you don't know exactly what to do. Like, should I just go browse the game library or should I look for someone? If there was like a bunch of dexterity games just out on the tables and you were kind of encouraged to just, for your first game, walk in, find a table and play with people you've never met before. Like that would actually be a really neat way to break the ice on a larger scale at a big convention.
Well, I mean, Board Game Geek Con, that's one of the staples of that event is the lobby space when you first arrive is full of dexterity games and they just are there all the time. They tend to be some of the more rare gamerly dexterity games, but yeah, some of them can be a little silly, like what is it, Pass Trap or Fast Track, which is it's a large board with a little hole in the middle, and two players sit on either side, and it's like elastic bands.
Oh
And you
yeah, I know which one you're
stretch
talking about.
and you stretch back and fire your disc, hopefully into the center. And the object is to get all of the discs on one player's side, and then you win the round. So you're frantically firing these things into the center and missing and hitting each other, and it is a very silly game. And a great icebreaker, and a nice filler too when you're in between games, maybe waiting for something, getting ready to go to dinner. These can be very quick and silly starters and closers for a game session.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people in the chat have been talking about other silly games or even just dexterity games that they like. And that's really cool. Yeah, there's a lot in this category, I think. Well, we've got a few minutes left. So I think if you all want, go ahead and start dropping some questions in the chat if you have any questions for Eric or myself.
Yes. One other silly game that came up in relation to the Board Game Geek Con discussion was the Battling Tops. I don't know. We talked to you before the Battling Tops tournament when you were at Board Game Geek, Crystal. Did you actually get to see what goes on during the Battling Tops?
So it was funny because you guys had mentioned that I should participate, and I was like, oh, I don't have a costume. I don't have a persona. I can't do that. I was like, oh, but I'll definitely attend. And then of course, like happens at conventions, you get busy playing another game. You don't realize what time it is. And so I looked at my watch and I was like, oh, I'm missing it. So I rushed over and they were literally like, they had just finished and they were like,
oh, no.
The crowd was still there, but nothing was happening at that point. And I was like, oh, so I missed it. I didn't get to see it. I saw the costumes and I saw like the people standing around and they crowned the winner, but I didn't really get to see much of anything. So I was kind of bummed. It's my own fault for not setting an alarm on my phone, but that's what happened.
I mean, that there's always more things at a convention than you can possibly pay attention to. When you go again, you'll definitely need to check that out. And if anyone in the chat is going to Board Game Geek Con, it is a must experience just to be in the audience and see this thing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And I won't be at Board Game Geek Con this year, but I am going to Gen Con, so I figure that's a pretty good trade-off.
Yes, although there is no Battling Tops, but there's plenty of other spectacle to see at Gen Con.
I'm very excited and also a little bit nervous. I know that like they've started putting out like the map, right, of the area, and like I don't know if event signups are happening. I don't know what I should do. I'm very intimidated by Gen Con.
It is a lot. And I mean, any advice for Gen Con that I can offer is don't overschedule, because there's just enough to do and see no matter what you plan. If you want to do a couple of events, great. And certainly sign up for the Dice Tower live show, because yes.
But I imagine I'm probably in the Dice Tower live show. I think I don't know.
I think you'll probably be there. But don't overschedule yourself, because there's just plenty to see without needing to schedule your entire day.
For sure.
Let's see. Did either of us back Batman? I did not.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it looks lovely, but I didn't enjoy Conan enough to jump in on basically what's the same game with a new theme. But it looks very pretty.
Skinny.
Have I tried the Pokemon trading card game online app? I have not, although every time I get new physical cards, it comes with like a code that unlocks a digital pack. And I've been keeping them in a bag because like this has value. Someday I will want to play the online version, and this is important. I have to keep that. And I have this huge stack of these things. Someday I will decide I'm never going to play the online app and sell them or trade them to someone, or my kids will decide they want to do this and we'll actually make it happen.
Trevor asked me what big events are happening in Vegas this week/weekend. I don't know if the only thing I'm aware of is Electric Daisy Carnival, EDC, which is one of those big music festivals, but I avoid that wholeheartedly because music festivals stress me out. I can't handle it. If I want to see a musical artist, I go to their specific show. The big shows with lots of different artists and being outside and all of that, like it's not my thing. So I will be avoiding that part of Vegas for this weekend. Are we ready for the final Game of Thrones?
Oh boy.
Yes.
I am. Yes.
I'm ready. I am ready. So I started watching Game of Thrones episode 1, season 1, the day it aired. And that's 8 years ago now. That's a long time to be watching a single TV show. And I am ready for it to end this weekend.
I'm looking forward to the finale. I've been on this journey since the beginning as well. I just want to see. I wanted to follow the story that they're telling. All of these, the day after Monday morning quarterbacking stuff that goes on. It's interesting. I understand people get invested in these shows and they want things to turn out differently. And they, if only they'd done it this way. But I'm kind of along for the ride that the showrunners are telling, and we can discuss it when it's all over, because until the final episode airs, I don't know where they're finally going to go with this.
And I think with the way TV shows are being constructed right now, I think Game of Thrones is probably the most shining example of a story that got really, really big. And I think that there would probably be almost no way to end it that would make a significant majority of people happy, just because it's so big and sprawling and everyone's invested in different characters and everything else. Like it is what it is. And a lot of people were going to be upset by how they ended it, no matter how they did it, I think. Right. So
are Crystal and Eric going to the Dice Tower retreat? ? That's like 8 question marks in there. I should be there. I'm planning to be there. I don't know if you're going, Crystal.
I don't think so. Not to my knowledge. I only have a certain number of days that I can take off from work every year. And since I did the Dice Tower cruise in January, and I am doing Dice Tower Con in July and Gen Con in August, doing another trip in September would be nigh impossible. Especially because I am planning on doing the cruise again in January. So, and my days it's not like one lump of days that they give me every year. They accrue, even though I'm a salaried position. So like July and August are going to deplete everything I have. So if I did the one in September, it would likely be all unpaid days. And that's generally something that I can't do a lot of. So.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I'm missing Origins next month. It's gonna hurt when that comes up and I start seeing the reports from the floor and all of my friends who are going to be there. And but I do appreciate the extra time of not going to that particular event, so I can be ready and rested for the ones coming up later in the summer.
Michael asks, what game got you into board games? And I would say maybe I'm going to take that as to mean hobby games, not just because I played board games as a kid, but I really didn't get introduced to hobby games until 2007, I would say. And for me, the game that hooked me was Runebound, 2nd edition.
Wow.
And I still love 3rd edition Runebound. I actually was talking with some friends about scheduling a game of that in the near future because I feel like it's been too long since I played it.
Did you find Runebound at a store, or did a friend introduce it to you?
A friend of mine, one of my coworkers in Kansas City, I got invited to game night at his house, and he owned stuff like Betrayal at House on the Hill, Race for the Galaxy, Ninja Burger, Power Grid, like a lot of modern classics now.
Yeah.
He had a really good collection of board games. And yeah, we played a bunch of those, and we all worked graveyard shifts. And so we would go over to his house on our night off, and we would usually get over there around like 8 or 9 p.m. and we would play until 7 in the morning, and we would go get breakfast at Waffle House and then go home and go to bed. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, Runebound, took hours to play usually. And I will say, if anybody has an in, Fantasy Flight, tell them so please, please, please give me new maps for Runebound 3rd edition. They've released expansions with new characters and new cards, but I want new maps. And I don't know. I should buy the 2nd edition expansions and see if I can retcon them into my 3rd edition game, because I want the different maps. I don't want to play on the same map every time. Somebody tell Fantasy Flight to get on that.
I don't have any in. I can't really help you. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I've told this story many times. The game that really got me into the hobby space was the Pokemon trading card game. We were watching the anime, the show in college, and the trading card game released. And a friend of mine said, "Ha! Look, they made this trading card game out of Pokemon. Let's play it." And got some decks. I went and got some decks and started playing it with my fiance at the time, later my wife. And we just started seeking out places to buy cards. Like at the time, if you remember when the trading card game really hit, you could get cards in all sorts of crazy places like GameStop and the Warner Brothers store, and just find all these weird places to find packs of cards. And that led us to many game stores and comic book stores that had more hobby games. And that's where we found the Looney Labs games and the what's the company that made Monkeys on the Moon? I'm totally blanking on their name, but some of these small press hobby space games, Rio Grande games, Transamerica, and friends started bringing more of this stuff, and we started looking for more, and that's what down the rabbit hole.
Monkeys on the Moon, publisher 8 Foot Llama.
There you go, 8 Foot Llama. They didn't have many. There was something about the nacho incident. Like about Mexican food getting smuggled over the Canadian border.
They also have a game called Who Stole Ed's Pants?
Yep, and I think those are the 3. I think it's Who Stole Ed's Pants, the Nacho Incident, and Monkeys on the Moon, and that was about it.
I want to know what this game is. Who Stole Ed's Pants is brilliant. I'm going to look that up in a little bit.
Okay.
Just to clarify for the chat, since it seems like there was some confusion, I used to live in Kansas City. I moved away from Kansas City 11 years ago. I grew up there. I live in Las Vegas now. So as far as recommendations for restaurants in Kansas City, Joe's KC, which someone already mentioned, is the best for barbecue, although you're good with most of the heavy hitters barbecue-wise. Also, the Power and Light District has a bunch of good restaurants. When I go visit my family, I'll actually be there in 7, 8 days. 9 days, something like that. I'm going Memorial Day weekend. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So it's getting close to time to shut down, but there's an either-or question that I wanted to talk about that showed up. Never go to a convention again, or never go to a game group again?
I would say never go to a convention again.
Yeah. Mostly
because you could still travel and meet up with different people and friends in different parts of the country at a game meetup, at a game group. Now, if you had to limit it to a single game group in a single place, I think that would be harder for me. And while I enjoy conventions, I think my local game group is how I get most of my gaming done. And that is how I've made a lot of my good friends. So I would not be able to give them up. Shout out to the Thursday night meetup group here in Vegas. I love you all.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have to go with the same answer. Although I love conventions, I love getting to travel to new places and seeing the spectacle of these events. My game group is my meat and potatoes. If the conventions are dessert, the sustenance is the game group, the ones that I get to see every week and have gotten to know as friends over this period of time that I've been hanging out with them. And so, yeah, I would miss the game group more than I would all of the friends at conventions.
I think, yeah, we're probably both on the same page there. All right. Well, thank you all for the questions. As always, if you have more questions for us or comments about this show in particular, you can send us an email. I am crystal@dicetower.com.
And I'm Eric at dicetower.com.
And we always welcome your feedback. You can post on the Dice Towers Facebook page. You can tweet at us. You can post in the Board Game Geek Guild. We're reachable in a whole bunch of different places. The show airs every 2 weeks on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And we are very happy to have you all join us live to help me win trivia games and to ask us questions. As always, again, also don't forget to click that thumbs up button below this video. We greatly appreciate it, and it helps other people see it later on YouTube. But until next time, I've been Crystal Pisano.
And I've been Eric Summerer.
And you've been watching Dice Tower Tonight.
Thanks for watching. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. Crystal and I will see you in 2 weeks for another installment. Our show is supported by viewers like you. Thank you. Dice Tower Tonight is produced by Crystal and me with assistance from Tom Vassell, Roy Kennedy, and Rob Searing. That time that the composer of Hamilton sang his version of Part of Your World, provided by Merlin. Timothy Pinkham composed our theme, and hosting is provided by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games at great prices at coolstuffinc.com. Give us your feedback on the Dice Tower Guild at Board Game Geek on Facebook or Twitter, or by emailing us at dicetower@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit the other shows in the Dice Tower Network. Find something new at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all of us at the Dice Tower, have fun gaming.
And have fun catching some flying sushi, because it's ridiculous.
It's adorable.
It is. It's too good.